Well, welcome everybody. My thought for you today is from, well, it's a couple of things, but it's from the Yoga Sutras initially. And what's been running through my mind a lot is that I'm finding that that slippery slope that the spiraling of the mind has been very strong lately. And what I mean by that is that you can tell that when you're in a pretty steady place in your mind, you're in a pretty steady place with your day-to-day experience, and then one little thing kind of goes off. And maybe that's okay that one little thing kind of goes off, but then another thing goes off and your mind shifts again. And then another thing goes off and your mind shifts again. And before you know it, the mind is like spinning in these circles of everything being all over the place. And the Yoga Sutras tell us that this is what happens all the time, that this is the nature of the mind, is that it is that kind of swirling and tricky, slippery slope, is that once you start to go into any one thought pattern, is that it drags you into another, into another, into another, into another. And it's sort of that feeling of like if you've ever been in the ocean and you get caught in the undercurrent, right? It's like that energy of you get caught in the undercurrent and it keeps pulling you and pulling you and pulling you further and further away from what felt like it was steady and stable. So that's been happening to me a lot. Might be happening to you. And so it occurred to me that what's important to do is not to get caught up on the fact that it happened, because the sutras tell us that it's going to happen. And that the thing to do with it is to realize that once it has happened, is you start to bring in the tools that help to bring you back. And that doesn't mean to bring you back to where you were before it all went sideways, right? That's the mistake that I think that we make, is that we're going to bring ourselves back somehow to the place that we were before the thing that set us off happened. And that's not what works. That's not what happens, right? Coming back to that feeling of what is steady and stable means that you come back to the new place that is steady and stable from where you are, not from where you've been, right? So that's the consistent practice. And I was reading a quote just before I came from a Buddhist teacher that says that the present moment is like running water, right? So you can dip your hand in it if you're sitting next to a stream. You can dip your hand in it and you can kind of touch it, but there's nothing to grasp, right? And that's what happens to us when we're looking for that feeling of steady, or we're looking for that feeling of stable, is that we grasp at it, right? We want it to stay the same and to be consistent, and to, once we find it, that if we just cling to it, then everything will be okay, right? And that sets the mind off in and of itself, right? Sets it off onto another spiral. So the practice instead is that you're always in that state of, whenever I've gone off, I'm in that chaotic place in my mind, is that coming back to stillness is not back to where I was, but it's where is stillness right now in the chaos that I'm in, right? In the thought pattern that I'm in, where is the stillness? And if we shift ourselves that way, then suddenly we have the ability to not lose anything because our mind went off in the first place, right? So comfortable seat if you're not there already. Reminding yourself that you are not in this practice to reclaim anything. Because to think that you've lost something means that you're always going to be looking to replace it. And if you're looking to replace it, then you're going to get stuck. You're going to get caught looking for something that used to be and is no longer. That's what it means to be in the present moment, and that there's nothing to hold on to. Is that whatever used to be is gone. As good as it was, as bad as it was, it's gone. Finding stillness means, where is the stillness now? Within the spinning of my mind, where is the stillness now? Where is the stableness now? Within whatever my challenges, my conflicts, the things that are gripping me, that I'm gripping, where is there stillness? I want you to actually feel that movement of your mind. Don't look for it to be still. I want you to go into how fast it's running. And even if it's running slow, I want you to feel that. Feel the momentum of your mind. Don't run from it. And within that momentum, can you feel that there is a steadiness by the fact that you are watching it? By not trying to grasp the thoughts, you become steady. The entire practice is not to grip around what you feel, not to grip around what's inside or outside. Just for another breath or two, feel how the mind is running without trying to change it. Just stop gripping the thoughts. Let them move chaotically. Finding stillness means starting with where you are. And with the next breath, please bring the hands together in front of the heart center, palm to palm. As satisfying or unsatisfying as that look at your mind was, start with this breath. A deep breath in for Om. And let the eyes float open. Nice, you guys. You can release your hands, please. Bring your hands to your knees or your thighs. Stay seated. Start to cat-cow your spine. Just letting yourself move with your breath. There's that slippery slope of the mind. And they actually call that activity of the mind the vrittis, or the thoughts of vrittis. And it's a word from Sanskrit that essentially refers to whirlpools. So that energy of the mind that has the ability to turn and turn and turn and drag you in with it. This is the tendency of everybody's mind, no matter how practiced they are with meditation, with yoga, with whatever their mindfulness is this is the tendency of the mind, is that it works that way, moves that way. So if you get stuck in the momentum of it, it's hard to find any solid ground. When we look for solid ground, we start grasping, gripping. We want something that's going to stay the same. So it's like finding yourself standing still in the ocean. There's going to be the constant tug, the constant pull, and yet you can remain steady. You can feel your feet. Good. Come back to stillness, please. Stretch the arms up overhead, interlace your fingers, press heels of the hands up towards the sky. So push through the hands, reach through the arms. Good. Push down through your seat, draw your rib cage in. Good. Draw those shoulders down and away from the ears. Push up through the crown of your head. There it is. Nice. One more breath. Full reach of your spine. Good. And then release the hands out and down to the floor. I call that fanning the aura, so you feel the energy that is you. Good. And then go ahead and scoot forward and come onto your backs. Weren't expecting that, were you? No. Good. Come onto your back. And then stretch your legs straight out in front of you. Good. Walk your feet to the bottom right-hand corner of your mat. Cross one ankle over the other. Take your shoulders to the upper right-hand corner of your mat so that you are arcing through that left side of your body. Hold opposite wrists or elbows overhead if you'd like. Good. Try to keep that wideness of your pelvis. So that left side of your sacrum is drawing down. Good. And breathe into your side ribs. Good. And breathe in a way where it almost feels like you are trying to separate your ribs away from each other with your breath, that you're breathing so much into the side body that the ribs are actually expanding away from each other. Counteracting that desire to grip is a big one for our minds. Because it doesn't matter what we're gripping. We can grip onto truth, we can grip onto ideals, we can grip onto principles, we can grip onto God, we can grip onto anything that you can have an idea in your mind about can get grippy. And so any of those things that we are getting hard around, that we're getting restrictive around, becomes fuel for that moment where the mind turns back into chaos. Because as soon as something changes, our grip loosens and we're back in that whirlpool energy. We're asking that whirlpool of the mind to become more like a steady stream. And in that steady stream, again, you can dip your hand in, you can feel it, but there's nothing to grab onto. If you can remind yourself of that in the moments where you are so frustrated trying to get your mind or your body or your life in order, maybe we can relax a little bit. Walk yourself back towards center, please. Take the legs wide, take the arms wide, and then flex your feet, spread your fingers wide, and reach out in all directions. Good. Really extend. Draw the shoulders down away from your ears, push through the crown of your head, draw your rib cage down, reach. And then relax everything. Good. And then move your feet to the bottom left-hand corner of your mat, move your shoulders to the upper left-hand corner of your mat, take that side body stretch on the other side. Again, crossing one ankle over the other, holding opposite elbows or wrists. And if the arms don't like being up overhead, you can absolutely put them somewhere else if the shoulders are not happy there. Sometimes if the hands can't comfortably rest on the floor, you can place a block or a blanket underneath them, and that might make it feel that the shoulders can relax. Good. And again, breathing so that you are trying to expand your ribs away from each other. So you're actually engaging into that intercostal area of your rib cage. Pull the ribs apart. Pull the ribs away from the pelvis. Good. And part of that gripping feeling is that in any position that we're in, is we start to wonder what's supposed to be happening. What is this supposed to be doing for me? Where is it supposed to be going? And that makes no difference whatsoever. Instead, can you feel what you actually do feel? Present moment is that space that is between what used to be and what will be. And you can't define it by either one. Nothing to hold on to. But yet you can feel the steadiness of that flow of breath. You can feel the steadiness of the flow of your mind, and that becomes tranquility. That becomes quiet, even though it's constantly moving. It's only when we grip that we create that whirlpool. Good. Bring yourself back to center, please. Again, legs wide, arms wide. Flex your feet. Spread your fingers wide so you're really reaching through all of your extremities. Reach out through your toes, reach out through your fingers. Spread your toes if you can. Pull them wide. Good. Reach, reach, reach. Engage everything. Ribs in, throat long. Good. Reach. And then relax everything. Beautiful. And then bring your feet closer together, please. Bend your knees. Plant your feet hip width. You can bring your arms back alongside you, or actually, let's do this. Take your arms up overhead again. Hold opposite elbows above your head. Good. Try to find the softening of your ribs in this position. So with the arms up, the ribs are naturally going to push up towards the floor. So knees up towards the ceiling, Laura. Feet flat. There you go. Good. So find the softening of your ribs first. And then I want you to draw in and up through that low space of your belly. So you're engaging the low belly muscles and a little bit of your pelvic floor, squeezing in and up. Feel the length of your sacrum, butt pulls towards your heels. Good. And then maintain that and lift your shins up off the floor so that they parallel the floor, 90-degree angle. Flex your feet. Good. Try to keep your ankles as separated as your knees are so they're in line with each other. Yep. And then you're drawing your knees are right on top of your hips. So for many people, that means that you have to keep your legs further away from your belly than you think you need to. Good. And keep those low ribs anchored to the floor. Nice. Let your legs shift over to the right just a little bit. Good. So almost like you are going to bring them into a twist, but not all the way. Keep your left rib cage down while you do that. Good. And then bring it back to center from that internal space. You're bringing it back. And now move the legs to the left. Good. And then bring it back to center. Keep the stability of the heels and the knees connected to each other, connected to the hips. Take it to the right again. Good. And then bring it back to center. Watch that rib cage that you're not getting grippy. Go to your left. Good, and then come back to center, please. Stretch your legs straight up to the sky. Good, keep those ribs down. Push down into the back of your sacrum. So push your low back down into the floor, but stretch up through your heels. Beautiful. And then let your legs drop open wide to a straddle. Good, keep that low belly area scooped. You got it. Arms are still relaxed overhead, ribs are in. Yeah. Flex those feet. Feel as though you're squeezing your ankles towards each other just a little bit. Good, and then push your tailbone down towards the floor. Let your legs go wide. Yeah, one more breath. Good, and then bend the knees towards your armpits. Reach with the hands. Find your ankles or the insteps of the feet for happy baby. Beautiful. Heels up towards the ceiling. So again, stack the heels on top of the knees. Keep that relationship of how the lower part of the leg and the upper part of the leg are working with each other. Keep your low back anchored to the ground. Good. Do a little hug in of those inner knees. So as you hug in with the inner knees, you actually can then send your groins down towards the floor. So you're actually rotating those thigh bones in a little bit. Good. And then lengthening your tail towards the floor again. Good, and now just relax your knees down towards your armpits any amount. And if your knees are cranky, push your feet up into your hands. So don't pull down on the legs, push up into your feet, but relax the knees down. Good, relax your head, Jen. There you go. I know, don't try too hard, you guys. Trying too hard is that same grippy feeling that I expect something to happen if I try harder. Yoga asana is meant to be that combination of effort and effortless. So you set yourself up well, and then you let the pose open what needs to open within you, what your body needs to experience through it. One more breath. Good. And then take the right ankle on top of your left thigh, please. Left shin parallels the floor. Reach through to hold, and yes, use your hands. Flex your feet. Maintain that connection of your left shin, your left ankle with your knee, that it should still be in that really straight alignment, that you can imagine that if you were doing this standing up, that you would have to not let your toes turn out to the side, which most of you are doing. Turn those toes back in. There you go. Good. And you want to bring your weight a little bit more towards that left side of your sacrum. So drop your weight onto that left side of your low back a little more. That's it. Deep breath in. As you exhale, lift your shoulders up any amount, squeeze those legs in, maybe even reach further forward towards your shin or your ankle. I know you can reach through the legs if that's not too awkward. Good, but squeeze in, pull the legs in, lift your chest. Good. And then slowly release, please. Unwind, hug the right knee in towards your chest. Extend that left leg out on the floor. Good. Flex the left foot, so the leg that is extended, flex the foot, dig the heel down and pull back and in. Good. And then don't let those toes roll out. So that inner thigh of your left leg, roll it down to the floor. That's it. Good. Even if you think your toes are in the perfect alignment, roll that inner thigh down more. Good, Sandy. And then hold behind that right leg. Extend the right heel up towards the ceiling. Keep that left inner thigh rolling in. Good. Push that right thigh back against your hands. Scoop into your low belly so that you're moving your pelvic points away from your thigh as you pull your thigh away from your pelvis. Good. And then deep breath in. As you exhale, curl into your low belly. Walk your hands up towards that ankle any amount. So lift the shoulders. Good. And keep pushing the leg back against the hand. So don't change that resistance. Yeah. Keep your left inner thigh rolling in. Good, Sarah. And then relax the shoulders back down to the floor. Take that leg with you any amount, but keep pushing it away so that you're not just collapsing into that hamstring stretch. Good. And then bend the knee back in towards your chest, please, please. And place that right foot down to the floor. Good. Bring the left ankle on top of the right thigh. Lift your right shin parallel to the floor. Reach through to hold. Good. Letting your weight come a little bit more onto that right side of your low back so that you're balancing both sides of your pelvis. Flex the feet. Again, imagining that you were standing here, you would have to adjust those toes, right, if they're falling in or out. Good. I know, now you're all moving your feet like, what is she talking about? Is this in? Is that out? What's straight? I can't tell because I'm not standing on it. Good. Deep breath in. As you exhale, bring those legs in closer, lift head, neck, and chest, squeeze in. And again, you can reach through the legs a little bit further or even change the hands if you need to reach for the ankle or the foot. Good, dragging in, keep your weight on that right side of your low back though, don't lean onto the left. Good. Nice, you guys. So you're getting close into yourself, but not getting grippy. Release the shoulders back and down, please. Good. Pull that left knee in towards your chest. Extend the right leg out to the floor. Focus on the extended leg first. Flex the foot, dig your heel down, and feel as though you are pulling that heel up into the hip socket. And then if you can, push through the big toe mound of your foot a little bit more. Draw your baby toe edge of your foot wider. That's it. Good, Alice. Yeah. Now maintain that. That inner thigh of the right leg is rolling in and down to the floor. Hold behind your left thigh, please, and extend that left heel up towards the ceiling. And so you're pushing your thigh back against your hands. That right inner thigh is still rolling in. You're still pushing more through the big toe mound of your foot. So push forward through that inner edge of the leg. Good. And then scoop into your low belly. So you're moving your pelvis back away from your left thigh, but keep pushing the left thigh into your hands. On your next exhale, lift head, neck, and chest. Walk your hands up towards that ankle any amount. Good. Keep pushing the leg away though. Don't get into that gripping that I have to pull my leg to my belly. No, you don't. You're just finding that connection of how long you can get through the front of your body, the back of your body with your legs in this split. Good. And then release the shoulders back and down. Bring the leg with you any amount, but keep the pressure of pressing against your hands. Keep the resistance. Good. And then bend that left knee back in towards your chest. Nice job. Squeeze the right knee in with it. Hug both knees in. Good. Do a little rolling on your lower spine, forward and back. Little circles with the knees. Beautiful. And then roll yourself up to sit. Come forward onto hands and knees. Good. And come back to downward facing dog. Nice. Bend your knees, please. Nice and low. And then cat-cow your upper spine. Pull your hips back and move your spine. Good. Don't let your hips fall forward and back in this position. Keep your hips pulling back. Keep them steady. Lengthen the spine, forward and back. Cat-cow is never really about getting any shorter in your spine in either direction. It's just finding the length of the front of the body and then finding the length of the back of the body. Good. I feel like I should tell you that one of my secret inspirations today is very much on the idea of Ram. And so I had you starting with that kind of core energy, because the seed sound for the solar plexus chakra is Ram. That's the sound of it. But Ram is also the name, comes from Rama, right, from the Ramayana. And so the energy that is able to get you out of that spiraling of your mind, right, the anchors that you use internally are important. Because if you use them consistently, then just that one sound is able to snap you out of it. No matter how far you've fallen, it can bring you back to a state of, still. So in my mind, while you've been practicing, I'm chanting Ram. If you want to chant Ram for yourself, you absolutely can. For the solar plexus, but it's also the name of God, the name of God as the loving form that moves through this world. Good. Come back to stillness, please. Take the hips nice and high. Let your heels drop down. I say that because Ram is the energy of God as a human. God that understands everything that you're struggling with and knows that you're perfect anyway. But don't get upset about it. Right leg up and back, down dog split. And you know, I'm talking to you, but I'm just talking to myself the whole time I'm teaching. So right foot steps forward between the hands. So indulge me. Good. Drop that back knee to the floor, please. Use a blanket if you'd like. Inhale both arms to the sky, Anjaneyasana. Good. Interlace your fingers, press heels of the hands up, up, up. Good. That's your inhale. Nice long spine. As you exhale, keep your shoulders on top of your hips, but bring the arms forward, round into your back body. Good. So you're lifting those hip points up. And then in that rounded position, let your pelvis move forward into that lunge a little deeper. Good. And now let your pelvis stay where it is. Inhale, take your arms back up, reaching through the sides of your waist. Pull up. Good. And then one more time, exhale, bring the hands forward, pushing out through the hands. Pull your armpits back. So don't lean forward. Good. So Nancy, pull your shoulders back more. Rosalind, pull your shoulders back more. That's it. And then bring yourself all the way back up. Inhale. Good. And then hands together at heart center, please. Getting taller as you bring your hands to that center. And then prayer twist. Left elbow comes to the outside of your right knee. Push your knee wide into your elbow. And then root the big toe mound of that right foot. Good. So you're creating stability by pushing wide and then dragging in. And then pull your navel in, pull your ribs in, and start to turn your heart to your thumbs. And then pull your throat back. And maybe in your mind chant Ram, 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 Ram. Even if it's just once for every breath, Ram. Use mantra to give the mind something steady to orient itself so that it can find stillness. Good. Come back to center, please. Arms to the sky. Inhale. Nice. And then release the hands down to the floor, please. Both hands inside the front foot. Good. Walk towards that upper left-hand corner of your mat. Come on down to your forearms or stay on fingertips if you need to. You can use blocks if you'd like. Good. If you want to let that right knee go out wide to the side, you're welcome to do that. Flex the foot, turn onto the baby toe, and let your knee go wide. But as that knee goes wide, don't collapse that left side of your pelvis. Keep pulling up and dragging that right thigh crease back and in. So you're still trying to square your pelvis. Good. So Lauren, a little bit more. Pull that right butt cheek back and in. Yeah. And then lift the front of your pelvis up. Move your whole weight forward onto that right foot more. That's it. Yep. And now curl your tailbone under again, or turn your pelvis under. That's it. Yep. Good. Nice, you guys. One more breath where you're at. And then walk yourself back in. Take that right foot back to flat if it's open. Good. Lift the back knee, please. And then walk your hands forward. Step up, standing split. Left thigh comes parallel to the floor. Flex that foot. Fingertips on blocks or the floor. Make sure you are able to touch something solid. Good. Curl that low belly in. Send your left baby toe down towards the floor more. Flex the foot. And then try to push out more through that big toe mound. Yeah, so now it's weird because you're upside down, but push out through the big toe, pull the baby toe forward and in. That's it. And then hands on something, come up on the tippy toes of your right foot. Yep, scoop into your belly, pull those hips high, high, high. Split those legs even more. Pull up, pull up, pull up. And then feel like you are squeezing your feet towards each other to pull your pelvis even higher. Yeah, and then relax the heart. Nice. And then take that right heel back down to the floor without feeling like you get any heavier. You stay just as light. Nice. And then left foot comes down alongside the right. Nice job. Good. Feet underneath the hips. Bend your knees. Take the arms up to chair. Inhale. Good. And then release the hands to the tops of the thighs, please. Good. So Agni Sara is what we're doing. So it's a movement through the navel. So you're going to inhale your breath. You're going to exhale all the way out. And when there's no breath, you're going to hold. With no breath, you're going to pump your navel in and out. Good. So no breathing while you're pumping your navel. No breath. And then when you need to inhale, you're going to inhale the breath. Go ahead. And then exhale again. At the end of the exhale, where there's no breath, pump your navel. Good. And then one more time, inhaling and exhaling all the way out. When there's no breath, pause and pump your navel in and out, in and out, in and out. Don't get grippy though. You're not punching yourself in the gut. You're just moving your navel. Good. And then exhale all the way out, or inhale, I should say. You're already at the end of an exhale. And as you exhale, come into a standing forward fold. Fingertips to the floor or blocks. Take your hips to the sky. Good. Nice, you guys. Step the right leg way back behind you. Good. Drop that knee to the floor. Use a blanket if you'd like. Anjaneyasana. Take the arms up to the sky. Good. Can you notice the relationship still of that back foot with your back knee? Is it in line or has your foot come into the midline of your pose? I'll give you a clue. If you're not sure, it's moving towards the midline of your pose. So try to move that back foot just a little bit wider towards the outside edge of your mat. It's going to feel weird. Yeah, the back foot, move it wider. Good. And then scoop into that low belly, interlace your fingers, press heels of the hands up towards the sky. Pull up. Good. And then as you exhale, shoulders stay on top of your hips, round into your back body, press the hands forward. Pull your hip points up, but keep your foot anchored to the floor. In that rounded position, move your hips forward again, a little deeper into the lunge. Good. And now stay there, but take your arms back up to the sky. Get long through the side body. Reach, reach, reach. Good. And then exhale again. Bring the arms forward, round into your back. Pull up through those hip points. Good. Don't push that back thigh forward to hardness, though. Again, don't get grippy. Just get hollow through the front of your pelvis. Good. And then arms back up to the sky. Nice job. Hands come together to the heart center, please. Keep that length on your spine. Prayer twist. Right elbow to the outside of your left knee. Push your left knee wide into your elbow so that it stays on top of your ankle and it stays pointing towards second or third toe. And with your knee going wide, it means you have to pull your left butt cheek in, which means you have to push your right hip wider, which means that if your foot is not oriented well, you're going to feel off balance. Pull that left butt cheek in. More, Laura. More, Sarah. Good, Rosalind. Good, good, good. Turn your heart to your hands, please. Pull your navel in to do it. Chant Ram. Good. Come back to center, arms to the sky. Inhale. Yeah, don't collapse. Good. And then release the hands down to the floor. Both hands inside the front foot. Walk to the upper right-hand corner of your mat. Use blocks if you'd like. Come on down to your forearms if you'd like. Good. And if you want that front knee to drop open, go ahead and flex the foot. Come onto the baby toe. Let your knee go wide. But continue to pull that left butt cheek back and in so that your right hip point is pulling forward. This is keeping, again, as much neutrality and evenness to your pelvis. Because hip opening doesn't work very well if our pelvis is just going out of alignment to make it happen. Good. And this is what I mean is there's that slippery slope of once one thing goes out of alignment, it starts pulling everything else with it in your body and in your mind. I know, Carolina has big size over here. Good, don't let that right side of your pelvis collapse. Those of you who are more flexible in your pelvis is that's the greater possibility of going out. It's not that the left hip's gonna go too far, is that right thigh is gonna drop and it's gonna actually pull on that right hip. It's actually gonna tighten it. Yeah, the one that you weren't paying attention to, the hip that you didn't think was working. Nice, you guys. One more breath. And then walk yourself back in. Please take that left foot flat to the floor if the knee went wide. Good. Lift that back knee up. Walk your fingertips forward. Step up, standing split. Right thigh parallels the floor. Make sure your hands are touching something. Good. Turn those right baby toes down towards the floor more. So this is the same thing that you did before. The inner thigh is still rolling in and pulling up. Now it's just pulling up to the ceiling instead of down to the floor. And then push through the big toe mound of your foot. So you're pushing out through the inner edge of your leg, but your baby toe of your foot is pulling forward and wide. It's gonna feel really weird to try to orient that upside down, but go for it. You got it. Nice, you guys. Good, Lauren. Good, Mark. Good, and then hands touching something, come up on the tippy toes of your left foot. Good, even that foot that's holding you, can you feel that you're pushing through the big toe mound of your foot more? So you're getting into that inner edge of your leg and your baby toe side of your foot is still wide, but it's not stuck, it's not gripping. Good. Nice, you guys. And then split those legs even wider. Let the left heel come back down to the floor. Keep pulling the legs nice and wide apart and then squeeze your ankles together to pull your hips higher. And then bring the heart forward. Good. And then release that right foot forward alongside your left, standing forward fold. Nice job. Bend your knees, drop your belly onto your thighs, wrap the arms around the backs of your legs. Hug. Drop the chin towards your chest. Good. Keep hugging the legs round into your lower belly, your lower back just a little bit more, and then press into your heels. Take your butt up towards the sky, come into standing forward fold, hugging the legs. Keep the head relaxed. Good. Let your shoulders get wider. There you go, but keep the head relaxed. Maybe shake the head yes and no, actually move it. Good. And then release the hands down to the floor, please. Roll up the spine one vertebra at a time. So actually find each vertebra of your spine. Find what it feels like to stack your spine. Good. And as you come up to straight, notice how you have shifted, because you're fidgeting, all of you. Notice how you do that rounding, that stacking, and then as soon as you get up and you're like, okay, I'm standing, you shift back into whatever your usual habits are. So all of your weight is back on one leg, or all of your weight is back on one edge of your foot. Bring yourself into that feeling of unnatural neutralness. So bend your knees again just a little bit. Take your hands to your hip points so that you have some feeling of what's going on. Draw your hip points forward just a little bit. So again, hollow. So you're not pushing the pelvis forward, but you're actually taking your tail back. You're taking your inner thighs back. Good, just a little bit more, a little bit more. And then draw your ribs in. Feel your feet. Big toe mounds push down a little bit stronger. Baby toe mounds widen. Good. Knees are in line with second to third toe. Look at where they're going. Good. Are your knees in line with each other? Look down. If they're not, move them in line with each other. And then notice what that did to your hips. Good. Try to keep your hips in line with each other. And now pressing through your feet, extend up through your butt. So pull up through the back of your pelvis to take your legs to straight. Don't let your knees lock. Good. And then draw your rib cage in, lift those hip points tall. So pull them up longer, but don't let the front of your thighs get hard. And you'll know that that's happening because you can easily take your hands there and feel if those thigh creases got hard. So keep them soft. Draw the ribs in. Good. Lift your collarbones wide, but don't squeeze your shoulder blades. Pull up through the back of your throat. Move your ears back. And now relax your jaw and stop thinking if this is the right place to be or not. Good. Let your hands go for a moment, but don't shift into your habit. Don't get comfortable. Just feel where there's the ability to feel where there is steady flow when you're not out of balance that disrupts the flow, even if it feels unnatural. Good. And now don't disrupt yourself, but bring your right knee in towards your chest. I know, impossible to do. Good, and as your weight of your pelvis all shifted to the left, see if you can actually pull that left hip in towards the midline, reroute through that left big toe mound. Good, and then right ankle comes on top of left thigh, bend your left knee straight back, so it's not pushing out to the side, it's straight back from your knee. Good, cross-legged chair. Yep. I just want you to notice that when you come into cross-legged chair, the natural tendency is that you pop your left butt cheek out to the side and you start to swivel your pelvis because you think that gets your hip more open. Don't kid yourself. Focus on that relationship between your ankle to your knee to your hip. Pull that left butt cheek in towards the midline. Push your right hip wide. It feels awkward, I know. Hands at your heart center. For fun, to make it even more exciting, prayer twist. So see if you can take that right elbow to the outside or the instep of your foot. I know. Good. Don't let your hips swivel out to the side. You got to pull that left butt cheek in. Yeah. Yeah, be willing to fall. Awesome. Unwind, please. Come all the way back up to center. Stretch the arms up to the sky. Good job. I know, that was really good, Tara. Right hand to your left wrist, please. Stretch to your left. Good. Again, pulling long into that side rib cage where you can breathe your ribs away from each other. Good. Come back up to center. Switch your hands. Reach the other direction. Good. Notice as you reach that your hips haven't swiveled out of alignment. If you're not sure, they probably have. That left hip is going to want to fall back, so pull it forward. Good. Come back up to center, please. Nice. And then release the hands. Try and find that position of neutral again. So you felt how weird it felt to you the first time. Maybe it didn't feel weird, but it probably did. So see if you can find it yourself. I'm just going to watch and see what you do. So try and find those four corners of your feet. Try to find where your knees are on top of your ankles, but are oriented towards second or third toe, where the tops of your thighs are drawing up and back. So your thigh creases stay soft, but your hip points, that bony part of your pelvis, is lifting up. Good, so you're not tucking your tail and you're not pushing your thighs forward. And then your ribs are soft, your collarbones are wide, you're not gripping between the shoulder blades, your throat is long, ears moving back, jaw relaxed. Really good, you guys. Very impressed. And now don't disturb yourself and bring your left knee up and towards your chest. And realize that the natural tendency is that that knee comes up, your right hip is going to shift way out to the side. So try to pull it back in towards the midline. Push wide with your left hip. Try to keep your left heel a little bit wider towards the outside edge of your left hip. And then drop your left butt cheek towards the floor because it's hiking up. Good, so Sarah, move your heel the other way. Lisa P, move your heel the other way towards the outer hip. There you go. Good, now stack that ankle on top of the right thigh. Bend your right knee, focus on sending your hip back and in towards the midline so that your hip stays in line with your knee and your weight isn't falling towards that baby toe of your standing foot. Good, just notice if it is and try to bring it back towards that big toe mound edge of the foot. Send your groin back, your inner thigh back. Good, this is not easy stuff. I'm asking you to do very nitty-gritty things while you're balancing on one foot. Good, hands to heart center. Go for that prayer twist if you'd like. Left elbow to the instep of that foot. So you're twisting to your right. Good. Yeah, it's a super awkward position to be doing prayer twisting, so good job. Beautiful, slowly release, please. Come all the way back up to stand. Inhale the arms to the sky. Good. Interlace your fingers, press heels of the hands up, up, up. Take it into a little baby back bend. So you're lifting your heart higher, drawing your armpits wide, throat long. And then as you find that back bend, send the tops of your thighs back and root into the big toe mounds of your feet again. Good, and then let your heart drop open wider towards the ceiling. Let your ribs move back in space. You're drawing them in first, and then let them just move back and take your back bend a little deeper. Good. And then from your navel, draw all the way in and up. Take the arms back up to center. Exhale, hands down to the floor. Nice job. Step your right leg back behind you. Drop the back heel, baby toe parallels back of your mat. Take the arms up, warrior two. Good. Nice, you guys. Take your hands back behind you, please. Interlace your fingers at the low back. Good, turn that right rib cage a little wider to the right, and then move your inner left knee a little wider to the left. Reroot that big toe mound of your front foot, and then you're gonna lean your left rib cage forward over your left thigh. Take your hands reaching back towards your back heel. So your arms are straight or they're reaching long. So don't bow inside. Keep that left rib cage right over your left thigh. So turn your ribs open to the right, Mark. Turn your ribs open to the right, Laura. Good, so almost like you're doing side angle pose. There you go. And pull those hands towards your back heel. Good, but pull your left armpit forward. That's it. Good, turn your ribs open a little more, Harriet, you can. Beautiful, one more deep breath in. Good, and then straighten that front thigh, moving the legs towards triangle, but keep leaning in the same way. Squeeze your feet towards each other. Pull that left thigh up, up, up in towards the hip socket. Good, so straight legs, straight legs, straight legs, but ribs turn to the side. Deep breath in, and then extend the arms, right arm to the sky, left arm down, reaching for the floor. Good. With that same feeling that you're not pulling away from that center of your shoulders, you're not pulling away from the center of your heart, is you're actually just extending the place at the center of your heart through your arms. Good. What we do when we find those points of stillness is that you're not translating them into the world, you're just extending them. Through whatever it is that you're doing, you bring that steadiness with you, through you. Good. Bend that left knee again, please. Release both hands down to the floor, inside the front foot. Keep your back heel on the floor for a moment. Nice. Good. Drop yourself a little deeper in, bend your elbows, let your shoulders go inside that front leg. Pull that left butt cheek back and in though, don't collapse. And get that back thigh a little stronger. That's it. Nice, you guys. And then go ahead, back up on your hands, turn that back heel up, please. Good, step back, down dog split. Take your left leg up and back behind you. Good, walk your hands back towards your right foot, coming into a standing split again from the other direction. Awesome if you can come up onto your tippy toes on that right foot. Yeah. Good, turn those left baby toes down towards the floor, scoop in. Squeeze the feet towards each other, get your butt higher, and then extend the legs from there. Nice. And then release that right heel down to the floor if it's up. Good job. Bow deep in. And then walk your hands forward, back to down dog split. Good. Take that foot back to the floor, downward facing dog. I know, I'm going to give you a child's pose soon, I promise. Good. And then take your right leg up and back behind you, down dog split. Bring it forward between the hands. Nice. Back heel comes flat, baby toe parallels the back of your mat, come into warrior two. Good. Watch where your knee is pointing, second or third toe. And that doesn't mean that you get to change the angle of your foot so that your foot is now pointing in the direction your knee wants to go. Don't cheat. Good. And as that inner knee goes a little wide, it means that right butt cheek is going to draw in. It might mean that your pelvis no longer faces all the way to the side. Swaha, that's what happens, right? When you start working with the actual alignment of your joints. So if your hips don't face all the way to the side, that's fine. Just send the inner thigh of your back leg up and wide so that the baby toe stays really awake. The inner ankle stays really lifted. Good. And then you can turn your left rib cage a little wider to the left. Your hips don't have to go with it. You can move your ribs and keep moving your inner knee wider to the right. And then take your hands back behind you, interlace the fingers. Lean that side body over the right thigh, so it's like you're coming into side angle, and then take those hands reaching towards your back heel. So don't twist the ribs forward. Keep them twisted to the left. Keep them open to the left. So Mark, turn your right shoulder down, lift your left shoulder up. That's it. And still that deep bend in the front knee. Good, you guys. Keep reaching long. So the point of this is that you're pulling through the crown of your head, pulling through your chest, and you're pulling your tail back towards your heel. Good. Now maintain the arms straight in the front thigh, like you're coming into triangle pose. Got to press into that front foot, big toe mound, anchors down, and squeeze those hips up, 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 thigh up into the pelvis, and turn your ribs open. Good. Nice. And then go ahead and release the arms. The right hand reaches down, the left arm reaches up. Ribs are still turning open. Nice. So Linda, bring your left hand forward a little bit more and draw the top of your left shoulder back. So hand forward more, but shoulder back. Almost. Hand forward, shoulder back. So your hand doesn't move, but your shoulder does. There you go. Nice, you guys. Good. Same thing, Lauren. Take your hand forward more, but bring the top of your arm and your shoulder back. There you go. Yes. Nice, you guys. Bend that front knee again, please. Release the hands down to the floor. Spin your back heel up. Actually, keep the heel anchored for just a second. Both hands inside the front foot. Bend your elbows. Let yourself drop in a little deeper. Just to, again, get more into the openness of your hips. But you've got to hold your legs steady in order for that openness to occur. So inner knee still pushes wide, right butt cheek has to pull back and in, so you're not swiveling your hips out of alignment. Good. Now go ahead, walk back up onto your hands, spin your back heel up, sweep that right leg up and back, down dog split. Yep. Walk your hands back towards your left foot, come into standing split. Good, and come up on the ball of that left foot if you can. So coming up onto the tippy toes, scooping through the belly, pushing your sacrum up, up, up. Turn those right toes down towards the floor so the inner thigh has to pull up. Are you still chanting Ram? Again, it's my secret inspiration. It doesn't have to be yours. Good, let that left heel come flat to the floor again, but stay lifted. And then walk yourself back forward, please. Down dog split. Good. Take that right foot down to the floor, downward facing dog. Breathe in. And as you breathe out, bring your knees to the floor, child's pose. Good work. It's amazing when you've been going and going and going that you finally get to stop and rest, right? The feeling is beyond relief when you get to stop. This is what your mind is doing every second of your being. It's running, it's running, it's running, it's running, it's running, because that's what it's used to doing. So any little glimpse you can give it of stop in one place feels like this. It's relief. And if we get deep enough with that relief, yoga calls it freedom, it calls it liberation, moksha. That for a moment, an instant, you can be free from that whirling of the mind. And it doesn't mean that the whirling ceases to exist, but it means that the energy of it is now steady. So it feels like stillness because you're not gripping. Walk your torso to the right, please, over your right thigh. There's a little anecdote that's often, I think maybe it's in the Yoga Sutras, and maybe it's just something that I've heard told so often that I associate it with it, but it's about Swami Satchidananda. And it's a moment where he's there with some of his students and they are watching a stream. They're literally sitting by a stream, just watching the water flow. And a little leaf is flowing down the stream. Come back to center. Take your torso to the left side, please. Again, breathing wide into your side ribs. So it's like you're pulling your ribs apart with your breath. And as they're watching this leaf, as it's going down the stream, it gets caught a little bit on a rock. And so those little eddies that are around the rock, the leaf gets caught in it and it's kind of just circling and circling and circling and circling. And then suddenly it finds the current and gets past the rock and goes down the stream. And Swami Satchidananda points and goes, that there, right there, that's enlightenment. That's it. That moment when that circling, circling, circling becomes steady, becomes movement that is steady. Walk back to center. That feeling of gripping, of I want something, I need something to hold on to be consistent. That creates disturbance in the mind. Present moment, that peaceful place, the stillness that we crave, can't be held on to. So what are we learning in yoga? How to have no solid ground, how to have nothing that we hang on to, but to connect to that steady flow. Good. Walk your hands back in, please. Come to sit. And again, whatever tools you use to get you to that place, that's why there are so many different practices, because every mind needs something different to get it there. Stretch your right leg out in front of you. Good. Bring the bottom of the left foot to the inside of the right thigh. Did I say that right? Yeah. Good. Level your pelvis. So try to keep your hip points in line with each other. Good. Look at that right inner thigh. Have it rolling down towards the floor so that your toes are straight up and down and you can push through the big toe mound of your foot. Baby toe edge of the foot goes wide. Good. Inhale the arms up to the sky. Little twist to your right. Bow forward. Danu Shirshasana. Good. Instead of wondering, what is this pose supposed to do for me? Can you feel, what is this pose doing with me? What is expanding through me in this position? What state does this pose bring my mind to? Because there are poses that will have the effect that will rev the mind up, right? Back bending, we say, has that tendency. That if you need to wake the mind up, you do back bending. You need to calm the mind down, you do forward folding. You need to focus the mind, you balance on one foot. So in any given practice, we try to do some of all of those things because the body needs its full range of motion and the mind needs every opportunity it can have to find that steadiness, to get out of that swirling. Good. Walk yourself back up, please. Good. So bring your right knee into, so actually do this. So reach for your right shin and lift it up in front of you so that you can hold the foot in your, I'm sorry, I'm saying that wrong. Keep the right leg on the floor. Apologies. Right leg on the floor. Bring your left shin up, the knee that's already bent. Bring that one up. Good. So you can hold the foot in your right hand. Left hand comes to the outer knee or thigh. Baby cradle. You got it. So just move the hip from side to side. Good. Like you're doing pigeon seated. That's pretty much what this position is, right? So I want you to flex the foot. I want you to pull the baby toe back more. Yep. So that you're actually straightening your ankle. Good. So pause for a second. Straighten your ankle, everybody. Pull those baby toes back. Feel the big toe mound, inner edge of the ankle and leg get a little stronger. Good. Now lift your shin up without compromising your ankle. I know, it's really frustrating. Move your knee a little wider away from your belly. That's it. Good. One more breath. Lift your belly up towards that shin. So come to stillness. Lift up. Again, like you're doing that seated pigeon. Send your groins down. Awesome. And then place that left foot to the top of your right thigh crease. All the way up. So bring it all the way towards the top of your right thigh crease. All the way up to your right hip point. Good. So this is a little half lotus. So if you need something to place underneath the knee, once you place that foot in the thigh crease, you're going to let your knee drop open wide, any amount. However it drops open, that's where it goes. If you need to put a prop under it, a blanket or a block, do that. If the knee really does not appreciate this position at all, then take it out of that position, bring the bottom of the foot back to the inside of the thigh. Good. But if you can hang out here, again, you're curling your toes back so that there's activity in your shin. Good. Deep breath in, take the arms up to the sky. And then see what happens if you, little twist of your belly to the right, bow forward. It's a little tricky because as you come forward, you have to relax your right thigh muscle so that it can actually move out of the way of your foot. Other option here is you can bend your right knee with your left ankle crossed on top of it. So you're doing like a seated figure four. Good. So lots of options if this position does not work for the knees. Keep the foot awake. Good. Nice. And do not push. This is one of those positions that if you are practicing for lotus, you're practicing for half lotus, and you get grippy in your mind about what you should be able to accomplish, we end up hurting ourselves. Don't get grippy. Good. Take one more breath where you are, as satisfying or unsatisfying as the pose was. And come on now. Nice. Good. Pull that knee wide to the left as you bring it out of the position, and then send that leg straight down to the floor. So you pull the hip wide, give it space, and then take the leg straight forward. Good. Feet as wide as your hips are, so a little space between them, or even as wide as your mat, but no wider. Deep breath in. Reach forward for your feet or your ankles. Forward fold. Good. Have something to hold on to, though. Hold on to something and use the pressure of your hands against your feet or your legs to drag yourself forward. You can also use a strap if you can't reach something comfortably. Good. Nice, you guys. Drop your shoulders away from your ears and extend through the back of your throat. Nice. And release. Please come all the way back up. Good. So the left leg is going to stay out in front of you in line with your left hip. Bend your right knee, bottom of the foot to the inside of your left thigh. Inhale the arms up to the sky. Pelvis is facing straight ahead here. Little twist of the belly to your left and then bow over the left leg. Good. Try to remember that you are pushing forward through the big toe mound of your left leg, that extended leg, and the baby toe is going wide. So it's not quite the same as just yanking the baby toe back, but you want to change that dynamic of the foot, the relationship of the foot to the ankle, to the knee, to the hip. So push through that big toe mound, get the inner edge of the leg stronger. And by pulling that baby toe back and wide, you're actually helping to stretch the outer edge of the leg that typically is over tight. Good. And then bring yourself all the way back up, please. Nice job. So you're going to reach for your right shin, bring it up towards your chest. So you're holding the foot in your left hand. You can hold the outside of the knee with your right hand. So the baby cradle is that you can hold that shin up and you can rock from side to side. But I want you to pay attention to your ankle, because the tendency is, and you can feel it, is that the outside of the ankle gets overstretched because the foot is sickling in. So change that. Pull back on the baby toe, push through the big toe mound, and then see what you have to do to change your shin to make sense with your ankle. Good. And then pause, come back to stillness. Lift your chest up towards that shin, pull that shin up towards your chest, again with a straight ankle. Good. So pull it up like you're doing a seated pigeon pose. Your knee can go wider. That's it. So Lisa S, bring your knee wider. Good. Lisa P, tilt your pelvis forward more. Tara, smile. Good. Nice, you guys. And then go ahead and bring that right foot up to the top of your left thigh crease. I'm just kidding. I can't order you to smile, but it's a good idea. So bring the foot as high up onto that left hip as you can. Good. And then once it's there, your toes are still active. You're pushing the foot into that position. So you're not just resting it there. You're actually pushing the foot there, holding that pressure. And then flex the left toes, inhale the arms to the sky. Again, little twist. If you need a block or a blanket or something underneath that knee, put it there. And then forward fold. And again, there's no grippiness here. There's nowhere to get to. It's just the feeling of, if I place my foot here, what ability does my hip have to rotate? And if it really doesn't feel good, it's not working, bring the foot back to the inside of the thigh and work there. Or you can bend your left knee, stack your right ankle on top of that left knee, stay seated, and work the hip opening in that position. Don't let your mind spiral out of control thinking about what it means that you're not in half lotus. Good. Keep relaxing here, you guys. The foot stays awake, but that thigh muscle has to relax and move down to make room for the foot to settle into the hip crease. And it feels awkward to do it. It's so weird. So let yourself go there. That steady stream where there's nothing to hang on to. The grippiness disappears because that's not the source of your strength. It's not the source of your stillness. You don't hold the mind steady. The mind becomes steady when you stop gripping it. And if you need help with that, we go to the mantras. We go to the tools that we're given. We chant Ram, or we chant whatever it is that we chant in our minds, until the steadiness occurs. So don't just do it for 5 seconds. Do it until the steadiness occurs. Bring yourself back up. Good. Pull that right knee wide as you come out of the pose. So pull it back towards the armpit, release the hip, and then send that leg forward, please. Both legs are straight. Give them a shake if they need. And again, separate the feet just a little bit so they're hip width at least, or as wide as your mat, but no wider. And then inhale, lift the arms up. Reach forward again. Find your ankles or your feet or your shins, some part of your leg that you can hold. And then bend the elbows wide. Bring yourself deeper into that forward fold. Good. Send your butt back. Push through the big toe mounds of your feet. How many times can you hear that in a day? A lot. I can just record it and send it to you so you can hear it on repeat. Big toe mounds, big toe mounds, big toe mounds, big toe mounds. Interspersed with Ram, 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 Ram. The purpose of those tools is not to force your mind into submission. It's to give it something steady so that it can allow stillness to occur, so that that swirling is not something that you're gripping or chasing. Come all the way back up. Nice job, you guys. Scoot forward, come back onto your back. Hooray. Good. My suggestion is plow pose, not necessarily shoulder stand. If you'd like to come into shoulder stand, you can, but what I'm really going for is plow. So if you would like to roll so that your hips come off the floor and your legs come back overhead, so you're in like an inverted forward fold, the legs come back over the head. Good. If that position's not working for you today and you have the ability to do legs up the wall, you can do that. If you have the ability to put legs up on furniture, you can do that. But find yourself legs up to the sky maybe, or even with your low back on a block with the legs up. But my suggestion is plow, if you are able to do that. So hips lifted, toes to the floor above the crown of your head. Good. Keep lengthening your spine if you are in plow. Nice. And you start messing around with the alignment of your feet and your ankles, as it can become where now all the time, all day, you're going to be thinking about your feet. That's awesome. Pay attention to how you are using your body, because how you use it is either creating your restriction or it's creating your freedom. And it has nothing to do with I was built this way, I was built that way, etc., etc. It's how you use what you have that makes that feeling of restriction or freedom. Same thing with your mind. Doesn't matter the contents of your mind, but how it's flowing is either that feeling of illusion, ignorance, stuckness, swirling, or stillness, enlightenment, clarity, peace. If you're in plow, take one more breath. And then slowly begin to release, rolling back down the spine gently. Good. And then bringing the the feet down to the floor with the knees bent. Your legs up the wall, stay there for another couple of breaths. Good. Just let your spine settle itself if you were just upside down. Don't rush to do a bridge pose, or don't rush to do anything else. Let the spine settle. Maybe notice what your feet are doing. Maybe notice the relationship of your knees to your ankles, and the tops of your thighs to your hips. Maybe if you're Sarah, try and drop your left hip point a little wider and down, so more weight on that left side sacrum. I can't see Tara anymore, but maybe she needs to smile again. I don't know. Maybe you all need to smile. Good. And then draw the knees in towards your chest, please. If you're in legs up the wall, you're going to find your way off the wall in a moment. So hug the knees in. Good. And then cross the right thigh on top of the left. Separate the feet, reach for the ankles or the shins. Good. Flex your feet and look for those straight ankles again. Yeah. Good. I know. Now you're all like, is my ankle straight? I have no idea. And that's the point, as we go about our life having no idea what we're aligned with. The yoga practice starts to bring us into a conscious awareness of where your energy is aligned and where it isn't. Instead of following the misalignments which build on each other, become that slippery slope, we try and stop the momentum with one point of stillness, one point of steadiness, whatever it is, the breath, a mantra, an asana. Because if you can stop your mind for a second, let it become that stillness, that steadiness, then it will reorient itself in that direction. Good. Release and switch the legs. Take the other leg on top. And the more frequently we do that, the mind settles into that steady state more and more readily, and it stays there. It doesn't stop moving, but the movement becomes steady. And if we're not gripping anything, not yesterday, not tomorrow, and we're not looking to grip anything, nothing to hang on to, then we are in an eternal state of freedom. You can move any direction, you can move with anything that is happening in life. We have to learn how to not grip, how to be steady without insisting that things stay the same. And knowing that your stillness, your place of peace, is not going to be what it was before when you think you lost it. It's new every single time. Unwind the legs, please. Come back to happy baby. Draw your knees wide, reach for your ankles or the insteps of the feet. Good. And then knees in towards the chest, please. Scoot your hips over to the left, drop your knees to the right. Final twist. Have your knees be truly on top of each other, your hips truly on top of each other. Let the shoulders open as much as they want to. Keep the integrity of the legs. Good. Come back to center, please. Scoot your hips over to the right, drop your knees to the left. Again, letting the shoulder drop open any amount and breathing your side body as wide as you can, that every breath is pulling your ribs away from each other. Good. Come back to center, please. Bring your forehead up to meet your knees, please. And then release everything back down to the floor. Stretch the legs out, let the feet drop open, let your arms drop open, palms up. Breath. Maybe with every breath, you chant the name of Ram. Either for that center place that is where your life spirals out from, the energy you put into the world from the solar plexus. And or for that energy that is the manifestation of the divine in human form that knows everything that you struggle with. Not only forgives you for everything that you struggle with, but knows that you are perfect anyway. Very gently bring the awareness back to your breath. Your body begin to stretch, move, whatever ways serve it well. And drawing the knees in towards your chest, roll to your right side. And take a moment before you begin to push the floor away to come back to an upright seated position. Bring the hands together in front of the heart center, palm to palm. And with the eyes closed, go back to that mental awareness of the state of your mind. It's not the same as it was before, I guarantee it. So what helps the mind come out of that state of swirling and swirling and swirling is to give it a steadiness, a place to steadily flow, not to stop it, but to keep it moving in one direction in a steady place. And so we use sounds like Ram, we use ideas like the chakras or the names of God, or even just the asanas. They're all opportunities for the mind to flow in one direction. Because when that direction of the flow is steady, the mind becomes peaceful, because that's what it is. It's not its nature, or it's not its determined reality to be chaos. But when we grip, we create like those rocks in the water, the swirls, the eddies, and the mind goes into that state. When you stop gripping, it naturally finds its way to a steady flow. And then you just guide it with your practice. You guide it with that gentle nudge here or there, Ram. Whatever you use, if not Ram. So this is what we're practicing. But allowing yourself to not grip anything, because the present moment is like that steady stream. You can put your hand in the water, but there's nothing to hold on to. So to realize the present, to realize yourself, means you can't grip. Close with the sound of Om, deep breath in. Sliding the thumbs up to the space between the eyebrows. Namaste, everybody. Thank you guys so, so much. Have a great rest of your night, a great rest of your week if I don't see you. I think we have pretty much a regular weekend schedule this weekend. So I know it's a holiday, but I'm pretty sure I'm teaching same time Saturday morning. And I think Cheryl is as well. If I'm wrong and there's, an announcement that's been made different, let me know. But I think that we have a regular schedule this weekend. So